I'll be doing a short demo around 10 minutes where we are going to be able to see how technology can help us enable and sponsorship some DUI, some inclusion and diversity components. So how can we use our HR and people operations software to enable what we just heard on this call? So just by start to give you an overview of the solutions that we have in terms of HR, and they go from employee self-service, manager self-service for the managed components, reports and analytics, which do play a major role in the parts of diversity, also recruitment, performance, training, and then more on the core side, we have the people or the HR core module, the payroll, claims, time and attendance, and health and safety, for example, just to name a few of the different modules that compose our HR ERP solution. I'm actually going to be focusing on the recruitment and the training, although, all those different modules do have an impact on all the activities that we have on inclusion and diversity. I think it will be easier just to focus on those two as an example, so you can take the best out of your current systems as well. So one, of course, is recruitment. And our recruitment solution is actually divided in different components. So we have the back office part of it, where we build the processes, where we have the templates, where we create and we manage the whole recruitment process. Then the job board, where we advertise, and it can be built in also on your websites for the ads that you're placing, the job offers. And there's a component in this module that it's the e-candidate, or the self-service for the candidates, so they can apply, they can register, they can exchange messages with the recruiter, processor, or officer. It's a way of communicating with the recruitment team, and also, later down the road, do the onboarding activities as well. So the module is divided in these different components, and they can be turned on and off depending if they're needed or not. So the recruitment module is where we basically built in all the phases that we are going to use, and we can use templates to speed up the process of creating. Is where we have automatic shortlisting, which is something that we're going to be seeing that also can help with DUI, that we are not actually going in one individually. It's where we also collect all the needs of recruitment from the different organizations, either also from the manager self-service, if you want that option to be available. It's where we send all the communication, messaging, invites for interviews, emails, where we can issue automatic reports. We can also build questionnaires to send to candidates to evaluate cultural fitness along the process, along other tests or ways of evaluating the candidates. And it's where we also define the different onboarding plans and activities for the different jobs that we have available. It's where we create the ads that will then later on be showed and displayed on the job board. So the e-candidate and the job board are basically the same, but with the login option in. So when you log in and register as a candidate, all that process is built in. It's where I identify as a candidate. I can go in. There's also the GDPR in terms of Europe, in terms of data protection, that it's built in as well. It's pretty much where I input all my information in terms of my set of data. It's where I manage the process. I can send message to the different managers that I'm working in that process and receive updates. All the questionnaires and all the tests that we are applying, they can go in online as well and fill in that information as well. And then later on, when I decide when I accept the offer, it is the last stage of the process where we can basically design in an integrated workflow of tasks, of activities. We can give it, a welcome message and documentation that I need to supply or submit for for the contract is where I can basically say I've completed this task. We can add employee manuals, frequently asked questions, training actions, the contract documentation as well as just referred. So basically track the activities from the moment that I'm a candidate to the moment that I move over to be an actual candidate, from a candidate to an employee. So in terms of inclusion, diversity, and enables, why recruitment softwares can help you. So for sure, they can have capabilities, and we have capabilities that enhance candidate search. And being able to go in and search for candidates while still limited some of the information that you're seeing to reduce bias can help you find your best pool of talent. So you can search for, if you have a particular recruitment process where you're lacking representation from parts of your community that you think you should be in them, that can be a way for you to search for candidates that have already registered and they're already in your database. The other thing is to try to reduce that bias process. So those type of automations of screening candidates, etc., can be options to reduce that bias that exists on these processes. Also focusing on data that is relevant to the job specific. Making sure when you create job ads that they also can be unbiased or they can be targeted to specific representations. We allow you to have multiple different ads for the same job advertisement. So you can actually capture more of your target audience. The process templates ensures that it's fairness, meaning one recruiter can be trying to apply different processes of templates of processes. This way we can have it more in a standardized way, pre-built in the system, making sure that you can also build in questionnaires for fit culture or blind assessments for screening tests, and focusing on data that's actually relevant to the specific job that you're doing and not necessarily for any backgrounds or any components of candidates that really don't represent future results. So for you to ensure that you will be in the future be more diverse, for example, recruitment is a key, but inclusion is also important by using the software to ensure, for example, the cultural fit with your organization. The other solution that we're seeing is the training one. So of course, training plays a key role on DOI across every aspect, and the solution allow you to diagnose training needs that can come out of performance, that can come out of previous training actions, design the whole training plan, and either if it's a yearly base or if it's a multi-year training plan, if it spreads across all departments on your organizations, or if you want to have specific training plans for specific groups, and DOI can be one of them. So you can have, for inclusion, a specific training plan to kickstart your organization. Track also its implementation, who's attending, who's not attending, budget and actual cost, evaluation of performance afterwards, surveys, questionnaires that you can build into the solution as well to pass either immediately after the training or whatever period you want to predetermine them to be sent out, even for managers to see if performance change. So this is also fully incorporated with the different modules that we see as performance and core. And why is particularly the software of training it's important. So you want to ensure that the system, for example, our system allow you to have training programs that are specific to tribes, for example. And let me call it tribes as a way to organize communities around different things, around age, around gender, around religion, really doesn't matter. Also is where you can track mentoring and coach in sponsorship programs. And those play, and we know from experience that they play a real key in terms of changing the way and changing how your company is or not more inclusive and diverse. Of course, the basic one of tracking DOI training actions. So ensuring that either managers when they're doing evaluations, or the recruiters when they're recruiting, or HR, or even throughout the whole community of your employees and your and your suppliers. And sometimes we always focus on the inside of employees, but you also have to look on the outside as well. So for also ensuring that if I'm dealing with the suppliers of my company or my customers, that I have in mind and that I'm trained in unconscious bias and other aspects of inclusion. It's also where you can run a diagnostic or a dial or a poll. Sometimes they call it poll, sometimes call it dial, on your level of inclusion and diversity. So if you're cherished, if you're celebrated, so those type of assessments are really key for you to also have the necessary inputs to build those training actions later on. So having a possibility to do that inside of the system, I think it gives you an edge instead of going outside and having everything in the same tool. So also tracking how is the participation of the trainees on your different trainings and the results, because you also might be sending them to training actions that are outside of the scope of DOI, in their professional aspects or certifications. But you want to understand what's happening with the participants, what's happening with the trainees. What are the trainees that self-enroll in some actions comparing to other ones that don't self-enroll, for example. So you want to make sure that you are tracking for the other trainings that are happening in your organization, that you're tracking who's attending and why they're attending and the results that they're getting. And if you're missing or if you're lacking the development of some components in different tribes. So you want to make sure that you're training or you're having in a path of acceleration or succession planning, that you're building the future generations and you're building your future employees to be on those future roles. So you want to ensure that it's diverse as well. So of course, receive feedback from this training action in terms of OKRs or KPIs of DOI, it's key. And also ensuring that you can also in the system have specific training plans for individuals. So not only having general plans throughout the organization, but ensuring that they can be as unique as possible, because that's the best way for you to ensure that you have inclusion in the processes. So this was just a brief example of some components where your HR solution and our HR solutions at Quidgest allow you to target inclusion and diversity by enabling the softwares that you already have. And we could look at the other ones, especially in terms of diversity, the dashboards and that information that gives you visualization of things that sometimes you don't know. But also throughout the different ones, like, even on the HR module, for example, making sure that you have, a gender option table, or that you have your legal name plus the name that you like to be called in. So that's something that it goes throughout the different modules. I would just focus on those two because those are, I think they're key, and give you an example what you should be also looking like. So if you're interested, if you want to know more, if you want to know how you can apply inclusion diversity when you're rebuilding your HR software solutions, we are here, we're available. You can send us in and give us a note, and we can schedule a more comprehensive demonstration of the different solutions. Thank you so much.